Today's crime story isn't about a career criminal or a serial killer. It's about one bad decision, one split second, and the life of an innocent girl caught in the middle of a war she had nothing to do with. This is the tragic story of Lena Brooks, and how the bullet that killed her didn't come from a gang member outside. It came from someone trying to fight back. August 17th, 2018, Dallas, Texas. 15-year-old Lena Brooks was standing in her family's apartment, just feet away from her mother, when a single bullet tore through their window and struck her in the neck. She was not in a gang. She wasn't in the streets. She was doing her homework. That bullet wasn't meant for her, but within 60 minutes, Lena was dead. The city of Dallas would be left grieving a bright young student, and detectives would uncover a web of lies, gang retaliation, and shocking truth. The person who pulled the trigger wasn't outside the building, but inside it. Lena Brooks was the type of teenager any parent would be proud of. An honor student at South Oak High. She loved science, wanted to be a nurse, and was especially close to her 11-year-old brother, Jordan. Her mother, Vanessa Brooks, worked 2 jobs and kept her family close, despite living in one of Dallas's more dangerous neighborhoods, Oak Cliff. It wasn't the safest part of town, but for years, they'd managed to keep their heads down. That would all change on a warm Friday night, around 8:47 p.m. Lena was finishing her homework in the kitchen while her mom cooked spaghetti. Outside, neighbors were barbecuing, and music played faintly through cracked windows. Suddenly, gunfire. 7 shots rang out. Vanessa dove the floor. Lena didn't. She had been standing up, moving to close the curtain. By the time Vanessa turned over, her daughter was on the ground, blood soaking her shirt. Lena was rushed to Methodist Dallas Medical Center. She died less than an hour later. On the scene were detectives Maya Ellison and Luis Hernandez, both veterans of violent crimes. The sidewalk outside the apartment was scattered with 7.62 millimeter shell casings, likely from an AK-style rifle. They reviewed surveillance footage from a nearby corner store, which showed a black Dodge Charger screeching to a stop outside the building. 2 masked men exited, firing toward the upper floors. The working theory was simple. This was a targeted hit, but Lena wasn't the intended target. The real target? Tyrone Lil Ty Dorsey, a 19-year-old suspected gang affiliate who lived on the 2nd floor. Tyrone was brought in for questioning the next morning. He was combative, but eventually admitted he'd had issues with the East Side Murders, a rival gang. They were pissed because I said some shit on Instagram, Tyrone told police. It wasn't serious, but you know how these fools are, always looking to prove something. Police ran the plates on the Charger and found it had been reported stolen 2 days earlier. But a breakthrough came when a known informant identified one of the shooters, Damon Rico Ricks, 22, a gunman known for brutal enforcements within East Side Murders. Ricks was picked up and interrogated. He eventually gave up his accomplice, Andre Ghost Vega, a rising shot caller who had ordered the hit on Tyrone. What Ricks said next would haunt investigators. I didn't know there were kids in there. I just did what I was told. At that point, it looked like a closed case. A gang retaliation had gone wrong. But then ballistics came back, and they changed everything. The bullet that killed Lena didn't come from the street. The autopsy revealed a sharp upward angle of entry, suggesting the shot came from below her apartment, not from street level. Detective Hernandez revisited the crime scene with forensics. They discovered that while multiple rounds had entered the building from outside, one shot came from inside, from below Lena's apartment on the 2nd floor. They turned their focus back to Tyrone Dorsey and his cousin Malik Sanders, who had been visiting that night. Both had denied having weapons. But when officers executed a search warrant, they found an AK-47 hidden in the ceiling of Unit 3B. Ballistics confirmed the heartbreaking truth. The fatal bullet came from Malik's gun. According to Tyrone, when the shooting started outside, Malik panicked. He grabbed an illegal rifle and blindly fired through a window, trying to scare off the attackers. "We weren't trying to kill nobody," Tyrone told police. But Malik, he freaked out, just started shooting. Malik Sanders was arrested and charged with reckless manslaughter, unlawful possession of a firearm, reckless endangerment. The revelation rocked the community. Lena had been caught in the crossfire between gangs. She was killed by someone inside the building, someone who was trying to retaliate. A neighborhood trying to protect itself had destroyed one of its own. Lena's death became a lightning rod in Dallas. Hundreds attended her vigil. Her mother, Vanessa, stood in tears, gripping a photo of Lena in her cheerleading uniform. She wasn't in a gang. She wasn't on the street. She was a child. And she died because people think grabbing a gun is the answer to everything. City council members and local activists called for stronger intervention in gang-heavy zones and more after-school resources. Meanwhile, Damon Ricks and Andre Vega were both tried and convicted for attempted murder and criminal conspiracy. Ricks received 20 years. Vega got 25. But the most emotional trial was Malik's. At trial, Malik's defense team argued self-defense. He was being shot at, they said. He returned fire to protect himself and his cousin. But prosecutors argued he fired recklessly, blindly, without even knowing who was out there. He turned his own apartment into a war zone. One of the most heart-wrenching moments came when Vanessa Brooks testified. Through tears, she told jurors how Lena had wanted to be a nurse, how she had been standing next to her baby brother when she died. In March 2020, Malik Sanders was found guilty of reckless manslaughter. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison. Lena's death left a scar that may never fully heal. Her school now holds an annual anti-violence rally in her name. A scholarship was created to help young black girls enter the medical field. Lena's dream. Detective Ellison later said, "I've investigated over 100 shootings, but this one keeps me up at night." Lena didn't just die because of gang violence. She died because of fear, because of recklessness, because people think retaliation is strength. Vanessa moved out of Dallas in 2021. In a letter she sent to a local paper, she wrote, "You never think it'll be your kid until it is. I don't want revenge. I want peace. But peace doesn't come easy where bullets fly so freely." Lena Brooks wasn't the first innocent life taken in the crossfire, but what made her death even more tragic was that she wasn't killed by the enemy. She was killed by someone trying to fight back. A community trying to protect itself had paid the highest possible price. If you found this story powerful, consider sharing it to honor Lena's memory. And if you live somewhere where retaliation is seen as strength, remember Lena. She paid the price for someone else's fear.